We are at the 2020 World of Wheels, and we are all set up here with our Andrews Auto Gallery chain smoker booth. We have got the before model 1947 Fargo FL1 and the after model 47 Fargo FL1 chain smoker over here. So this is exactly what it looked like, well, pretty darn close when we got it a year and a half ago. And I'm going to give you an actual proper walk around of the work that's been done over that last year and a half. So actually, to be fair, it was the last year, and then it's been in storage for the last little bit. But we'll start out front here. We've got starting with the grille. You can see how this whole front end was moved 7 inches forward. The fender line with the grille right here used to line up with the fender. Now it is actually pushed back 7 inches in order to get the intercooler between the two. So the intercooler starts here, it goes all the way over to the side over here, and then in order to fill in that gap so it didn't look too ridiculous, I used chains, and there are somewhere between 1,500 to 2,000 hours in just welding chains on this. If you really start to look close, you'll see that in order to take a compound corner like this, every single corner of every single link actually had to be grinded down in order to make them still stick, because first when I did it, they started to turn, and it's basically a matter of building it, putting it on, seeing how it fits, and then taking it off, grinding it, re-welding it. The first time it actually had a big indent here, so then I had to rebuild it again and again, and eventually I got to the point where the second side wasn't quite as hard as the first side. Got a little bit of a master chainman at this point in time. But then we come down here, we've got the V-bar tire chain. So this was made up out of a tire chain, and it was all chopped up, welded. It's reinforced, so these are welded from the front and the back. If you look at all of these are just welded from the back, just so it gives the illusion of floating chains. The rear bumper is also welded front and back for reinforcement, but we'll get there in a moment. So we've got a bit of a theme up front here with the gold, with the chrome surrounding. We've got the French fogs following that. We've got a toonie up front following that, and then the Fargo emblem. I've shined it out so it actually follows that as well. Then we've got gold intercooler piping coming down here. That's to keep the heat out, heat dissipation, and then obviously all of the nice shiny billet components around there following that same theme. We have got a lot of space in the original engine bay, about enough to raise a family. And then you move over to what we're working with right now, and it's about as tight as they come. So we've got all of our cooling still out front. All of this is custom. The intercooler, the AC condenser, the radiator, that's from Northern Radiator. So they were our main SEMA sponsor this year. So thank you, huge thank you to them for helping us get down there. Then we've got our compound turbos. We've got a 96 mil and a 74 mil. Those are provided by Stainless Diesel. Huge thanks to you guys. That is putting down, should be around 1,200 horsepower, about 2,000 foot-pounds of torque, over 100 PSI. Then you get way down there and you can see our transmission. We've got an NV 4500 5-speed with a stage 5 competition triple disc clutch from South Bend. So huge thanks to them for helping us out with that. You come up top, this engine was built by CPP Diesel, and it was built using only the highest end components available at the time with a crate engine. So it's got about 2,000 kilometers on it. If you really get in there, you can see it's got the one-piece manifold there. It's all been milled down in order to get that to fit. It's got a hot streak P pump. There's a lot of work in there. On the other side there, we've got a bunch of parts provided by Auto Value. So thank you to those guys as well. And we come a little bit closer in here, we've got the firewall. So these were made from heat transfer plates from an oil rig. So I saw them, they were at Recon Metal, and they were one of our sponsors as well. So also a huge thank you to Recon for helping us out. They basically were hanging out, and they're these massive sheets, and I saw that. I'm like, oh, I can definitely make something from those. So I chopped them up, and I basically, the inspiration here is like a metal that you would get in the war from like a aviation metal. And you can see that they're all riveted across like this, just basically to make them look nice and clean. And then we've got the hidden screws here and here to basically just mesh it all together. And then also I've made the door sills out of that, kick panels. And again, back to the chains just quickly here. These were also provided from Recon. These are from an 80-year-old elevator, a decommissioned elevator. So they're matching. We've got 350 feet of that all the way from one corner to the other for the wide body kit. Then there's different chains used for the skirts. and these are toe chains used to separate the hood here. So in the same way that moving these pieces forward, there was a large gap there, there was another gap here between the hood and the cab, which that was then filled in with those toe chains. And then up here we've got these amazing Automator Spec Pro gauges. Those things are unreal. Those are boost, EGT, and tack on the hood there. And then we've got more Autometer gauges in here. Thank you so much, Autometer, for your help. You guys are awesome. These gauges are awesome. Then we will move a little bit more forward. Let's go inside here. We've got these Japanese door handles. So one of the themes is around the world. We got Japanese knives as our door handles. Then there is, well, here, I'll give you a quick chance to see it first. And we've got more knives in here. This is an American Bowie knife. This is the e-brake, so it's made using a Toyota Tacoma e-brake, where it would normally be here and you'd pull it and it would engage and then you'd twist it to disengage. I use that same system in here, so it actually just twists to disengage. So now that e-brake is disengaged and then you pull it to engage it. And now that's engaged. Then we've got a Spanish, a Greek Damascus blade here as our shifter. It's got camel bone and redwood in the handle. Then there's a Spanish Toledo blade. That is the hydraulic drift brake in there. We've got this fabulous interior done by Auto Marine here in Calgary. It's from basically top to bottom. It's all original. It's all real leather. They did the theme here. I really liked the new style of the Bentley Continental, where it has the diamond stitching on just the corners and on the inserts, and the rest is all really nice and smooth. So that's the pattern that we went with. If you look at this double diamond stitching in here, it all has brown stitching, while the main accent parts here all have blue. So same thing with the roll cage protector. It's got blue down the middle there, and then the steering wheel, same thing. You can see it's just got the blue on the outside, and that steering wheel is just absolutely gorgeous, and it feels so nice. It's so comfortable on the hands. And they also did the carpet in here. We've got the roll cage. The roll cage will be powder coated at a later point in time. That's still something that's got to get done. The roll cage is it disconnects so that the interior could be put in, because if you build it with the interior, you got to weld and everything in here. And obviously we weren't going to do any damage to any of this stuff. So it's a full disconnect cage. It also comes into the back, goes into the frame, and then the frame underneath is fully tubed as well. So it's got the cage running through it as well. The frame itself is a 96 Ram, just the engine cradle section up here, so that the 12 valve and the transmission would fit without too much work. Cutting from the front, obviously all the rad supports and everything, all that section is all custom. And then right from the transmission brace back, all of that is all custom. We got a 14-inch C-drop notch back here. There's a 4-link independent suspension. We got the Watts link over here. Those are our airbags. We go up 8 inches, so there's enough room to move along. We've got these fuel cells in here, 2 of them. We've got these absolutely unreal fuel caps. They came from a buddy out east, and he does awesome work. If anybody is interested in getting their hands on a set of these, just let me know and I'll hook you up with him. So thanks to him as well. Then coming out back here, oh, well, a couple more little details I don't want to skip over. So we've got this rag in the gas cap. So normally, obviously, our fuel cells are separate. This would have been where it would have normally been filled from. If you actually look close, you'll see that it says chains on it, because this was the bag that the V-bar tire chains for the front bumper came from. So we're just following through with this chain. Then over here, we've got some 1947 dimes. There were some holes originally that I wanted to fill in, and I was thinking of the best way to do so, and that was my idea. So we've got one facing front, and then we've got one facing the back that's got King George on there. And there was another hole that was up here that I had to fill in, and I did so. I walked all around both pick and pulls, and I found the best one was from a 96 Honda Civic. So that's part of the build as well. It looks great, actually. I'm really happy with the way that turned out. It looks completely original. Coming inside here, following through with the Around the World theme, we've got the Genie Aladdin lamp on the dash. So when you put dry ice in here, it smokes out of the tip, and it smokes through these chains, bringing the chain smoker theme in. So to do with the chain smoker theme, then we've got the chains out back. When we're going to be doing a burnout, it will be exhuming a large amount of smoke as well. So that will also be chain smoking. And the original plan with the stack was to build a structure around it, so that when it was exhausting itself, it was rolling through the chains as well, and that would also be chain smoking. But that didn't work out. There's not enough space here between the hood and the cab to have chains circle around and still being able to open the hood, and I don't want to cut into any of the factory panels. All of the factory panels are exactly the way that they were. They've just been widened and gapped, but there hasn't been any cuts or alterations to any of them. It could be put back to look exactly like this if I wanted to. The only spot where it was done was here in the roll cage in order to bring the cage through, because that was the only way to do it. So back to the exhaust here. In order to bring it so that it is the chain smoker, what my game plan here is to turn it around and then to make a small hole right here. Well, there already kind of is a hole, that's why I chose this spot. Make a hole here and then have the chains so they look just like this. And so that they look just like that, except right here. So there'll be chains coming across, and then the exhaust will be behind that, so that those will be chain smoking again, following the original theme. And then I went with the compound turbo kit originally because I had the hood here, and I had this hood section on top, and I just had this part open with the piping coming through. But I decided to actually remove that second part of the hood so you could see in and see all the goodness, you know, because it's a beautiful, you don't want to miss that. And now we've got a lot of extra space right here, so maybe sometime in the future triple turbo setup, I don't know, we'll see. That's sometime in the future. And like I say, I want to do powder coating the frame. There are quite a few things that I still want to do when it comes down to it. So anyways, we will be moving back here, and we will come to the rear section. And as I mentioned before, you'll see that they are welded from the front and the back for rigidity. And then as soon as it comes up to this point, this is where I decided to stop and then make it so that it was the floating chains. Those don't quite need to be as strong as this section. And then this section was modeled after Harley stretched rear fenders. So you'll have the rear fender that comes out, and then there's the bags on the side, like on a road glide or a street glide. And then there's a bit of a transitional section right here that it brings it down and it molds it all together. So these are actually made from the same chains in a couple of parts, but one of them's rusty and one of them's not because it's sat outside. Some of it has, and the bumper is sat inside because we had to do a little bit of work to it. So eventually this whole thing is going to be rustier than this. It's just going to be completely rusty, which is going to be awesome. I can't wait to see what the look of that is. And it's cool because it actually gets to evolve over time, just with time because of that. So coming to the back out here, we've got the chest. This is a chest that was brought over from Scotland in the 1880s. I purchased it from the original family that had done so. It's older than that, but I'm not exactly sure how much. It is just, I like to think of it as a pirate's treasure chest, and I actually do use it for storage here. We'll pull a few things out. And then as a shelf, I've cut up a Canada Dry crate, and then Brody put it on this tray. And then the tray, you know, every little thing has been done. You can see how much the tray's even reinforced so that it doesn't fall apart. And then once you look into there, you'll see a lot of the goodness that had to be hidden, but is required to make the car work. So it's got a false floor, which means the floor in there is actually deeper than the floor up here. And that's so that we could have two levels. So we've got both Optima yellow top batteries right there. Thanks Optima for that. Then underneath that, beside that, we've got the air tank. And then we've got a shelf up here with the two air compressors. We've got the air valve here. We've got the fuel pump, the fast fuel pump right over there. We've got a air filter for the air tank there. We've got the circuit breaker for the batteries. And then that's basically what we need to run. But I didn't really want to show that off, so we've got it hidden. And then check out that guy. Just imagine what he would have thought if he could see where his photo is shown now. But coming out back a little bit more here, we've got the original spot where the farmer that owned this would have had all of their grain, and then they would have lifted this up and then shoveled it out so they didn't have to take their whole tailgate off. What we've done is we have hidden the hitch in there. So I can still tow. My game plan is to eventually have maybe some sort of ratty trailer or something with the same chain theme that I can tow behind this. But now it is fully set up for that. But the tow hitch obviously isn't too attractive. So, no problem. Hidden. And what else have we got? Oh, jeez, there's still so much more. It's hard to say, but maybe I'll just leave it at that. We've got these tail lights here. Okay, one more thing. We got these tail lights here. They're recessed in, so they're basically what's called Frenched in. They're the original tail lights, and you can see that I kind of made it. I wanted to make it so that they would come in and look like it's going into that spot. And same thing with these right here. So this piece here was originally folded all the way in, and then in order to keep it up, like it's strong right now, these pieces here, I just cut a little slit in, and then I actually slid them in. So now these are keeping this rigid. But yeah, it took a lot of time and a lot of work. We've got the build sheets here. There's like hundreds of pages of just drawings and schematics and to-do lists and just, whatever. It's crazy. Well, that's not focusing too well. Well, whatever. You get the point. It's, there's a lot that went into this. And then extra bonus for those of you that have stuck around this long, this is our engine block coffee table. So it's got a key here. That's kind of weird. What do you do with that? Well, put her in here, give her a spin. Oh, buddy. Only one of them in the world of its kind, as far as I know. And as for height, like I said, we can go up 8 inches on that. This one was 16 inches from the factory. So you can see, obviously, there's a bit of a height difference between the two. And yeah, so final, let's see if I've missed anybody. I want to make sure to thank all our sponsors here. XDP, thank you guys for your starter and the other things. DCM Classics, definitely couldn't have done without you guys. All of that stuff is Dodge. Dodge is Fargo. So that was so helpful. Auto Value, Auto Meter South Bend, Recon Northern, and Stainless. So thanks all you guys. Obviously Andrew's Auto Gallery here, Builder. And that's it. So thanks for sticking with me, and I hope you enjoyed the build if you followed along. And you know what, if you get the chance to come and see Chainsmoker, you should definitely do it.